everybody, it's Greg again. Heck yeah, you can cook. And today you are going to create with me an adobo chicken with pasta cooked in tomato sauce in a slow type of cooking process in our wok. A wonderful dish. You can make this on any weeknight, freezes well. Pretty simple dish, something that'll please the whole family. You got that pasta in there. You've got the adobo seasoning, and you've kind of blended two different cultures with the Tex-Mex world along with the Tuscany area of Italy kind of thing. So it's a wonderful dish, something I've kind of created together. One of my experiment days I put this together. So while I've got your attention, everyone please like, share, and subscribe. We're very excited every time we get a new subscriber here, every time we get a video that gets over 100 views. Please join us on our Facebook group as well. That's growing. I'm glad to see everybody up there. And also, please join us on TikTok, Instagram, and we just have all kinds of media outlets out there. We also have a web page called HeckYeahYouCanCook.com. Left that part out. Let's go through today's tools to make this. All right. First and foremost, you're going to need your wok. If you don't have a wok, you can do this in a large skillet. It's one of those dishes I just like to make in the wok. That's why I bought the wok. So if you don't have one of these in your kitchen arsenal, it's a great thing to have. This is a Cutco brand wok, by the way. A little bit more, but it heats so evenly. It's fantastic. Got my stock pot. Of course, we said we're going to be making pasta. I've got two wooden spoons here, one for the pasta, one for the thing. I just kind of keep some of them handy as well. You never know what you're going to need. I've got my cheese knife here, my Cutco cheese knife, along with my Filet Knife. All right. And that's about all the tools you're going to need to make this. It's kind of a two-dish thing. You put it together and serve out of one. Spices and ingredients for today. Now, I spice blend. This one does have salt. I will add a little salt to the pasta water. You don't need it. This is Chef Marito's. It's since 1985. I picked this up at a local tienda. I highly suggest to get spices, and I'm a spice addict, I will admit. Go to your local shops around the city and find these. They are fantastic. Also for today's recipe, you're going to need 4 ounces of mushrooms. These are optional. Some people do not like mushrooms. I do add these to this dish, but you don't have to add these to the dish. It's not going to make much of a difference. Just adds a little more volume and a little bit of flavor. I've got 1 red pepper here, and I have cut this into what I call chunks. 2 centimeter, 3 centimeter pieces. This is a kind of a rough cut, but a larger rough cut. We want these to cook down, but you also want them to show in the dish. I've got 1 medium shallot, and I've also rough sliced this. These are not, you see that jump right out? That was cute. These are not finely chopped. They're going to cook down. You want that, but you also want to have them in the dish itself. Let me add this bad boy back. I've got 2 tablespoons of capers. That's 2 tablespoons. That's where you're bringing in the Italian to meet the Tex-Mex type of stuff, and so we got those as well. This is a standard thing of capers, great flavor addition to any dish if you like to use those. I've got 2 tablespoons of said adobo. Not going to use all. We'll kind of show you how we mix it. Adobo can overpower, so you kind of blend it together. This actually suggests that you use a teaspoon for every half pound of meat. I use a little bit more than that, but also I'm going to add some of the sauce. This is more for pinch and feel. As you see the sauce and while you're cooking it, you're just kind of getting it across the top and then blending it in. That's why it's not really an exact measurement there. If you'd like to, I would say use a teaspoon to season, 2 teaspoons, excuse me, to season the meat, and then maybe 2 teaspoons to put into the dish. But we'll add a little bit for that in a second. I've got a standard jar. This is 15 ounces because nothing can be 16 anymore. A can of tomato sauce. You want to use sauce here, okay? This is the store brand. You don't have to use fancy dancy. I got some salt just to pinch in. And I've got 8 ounces of, now I really like the seashells for this dish. It holds the liquid in, and the liquid is where all the flavor is and when you make this, and you'll see that in the final product. This is the chickpea version. You use 8 ounces to 10 ounces if you'd like of any pasta you want. You can go probably 12 ounces. You can use regular pasta, gluten intolerance in the house, so I use the chickpea version, which cooks really well. And of course, the star of the show that we'll put in at the end is I've got Swiss chard. If you've not started cooking with Swiss chard, it's a wonderful green. It wilts like spinach, but it holds together better, has a lot of flavor, nutrients, and just brings such a vibrant color to your dishes because you want your food to look good. So we're going to go over here and what I do with this, and we'll show this real quickly here, is, well, this is the only thing we don't have already prepped. I love these bands they put on. Sometimes rubber bands, sometimes they're ties. Today's a tie. And I've already had this washed. It's easy to handle when it's tied together. And I remove the large stems. I use my little cheese knife for this. Regular kitchen knife does well. This thing works really well with greens. And it goes into the garbage disposal. And then I just rough cut it. You're going to wilt it down. As you can see, you kind of just make these big, rough chunks like this. You're going to put this in. It's going to shrink considerably, so don't cut it much smaller than this. You want this kind of size, adds volume and color to your dish. Now, I almost forgot about this wonderful part. We have a pound of skinless, boneless chicken, maybe a little over a pound. Get these at the fresh market, any grocery store. Look for the sales. I buy them, freeze them, thaw them, then cook with them. So got these for like $2.99 a pound, really hot. I patted them dry, and what we're going to do next is we're just going to take them over to my cutting board here, and I'm going to cut these not quite into bite-sized pieces, basically about this size. I'd say a little bigger than a silver dollar. For those of you who are old and don't know what a silver dollar is, about the size of maybe a golf ball. And so you cut those into those chunks right there, and you're going to be using these in the dish, and they're going to cook a little later in the tomato sauce once you get that started, in a slow type of braise. Sharper the knife, the easier the job. I'm going to wash my hands after I finish. We'll come back, I'm going to move the camera and show us putting this together in the wok and cooking the pasta. One thing you're going to want to do with the wok is you preheat it. So I go over now while moving the camera and I turn it on low heat, very low, minimum setting, and allow it to heat. Use stainless steel at this, you really don't need to add a whole lot of oil. If you'd like, you can add just a drop of olive oil to this. And I'll also get the water started for the pasta, but I'll show you a little trick I learned from another famous chef about how to make pasta with more volume while you're cooking. Try that again. Okay, folks, a tool I forgot to mention, you're going to need your colander right here. You're going to be draining this pasta after it finishes, and you're going to make it steam dried. You do not have to have the pasta ready the second the other thing. So I go ahead and get it done, let it dry, and so it's ready to add, and it heats back up instantly, of course, inside of the dish. Now, what I like to do here is we go ahead and turn the water on to high, and I add, this is a secret I learned from Mr. Alton Brown himself, is I add the pasta to the water before you ever start boiling it. And then when it reaches a boil with the pasta in it, so you do this with dried pasta, of course. When it reaches the boil with it in it, that is the time that you start your timer for how long it says to boil. And here it says that you're going to boil about 9 to 11 minutes. I've got about 10.5 cups of water here. I like a good boil on there, and also kind of prevents it from, overboiling. Add a pinch of salt. We are ready to go. I've been heating the wok now for about 3 or 4 minutes, and the first thing I'm going to add is I'm going to add the shallots along with the capers, the bigger flavor items. Now at this point in time, and I'll go ahead and show this, but you can add, I would say just a 1 count olive oil to it. Grapeseed oil works too. Just a little bit. I turn the heat up here to about between 2 and 3. That's a low medium heat. Start to hear it sizzle. You're going to want to let this work and soften for stirring frequently for about 3 minutes. You should start to smell the capers bursting. As you can see, the shallots start to separate. That's what you want to look for. This is the time I add the peppers and the 2 stragglers that didn't want to join us. So you got the pasta water going at the same time, so this adds a little less time together. And once again at this point, just because you can, you're going to add a little more adobo. Heck yeah. That's another pinch right in there. Yay. You're going to be stirring this frequently too. Another 2 or so minutes have gone by. And at this time, I turn the heat down just a little bit. And I add the tomato sauce. Yummy. And you guessed it, another pinch of adobo. Heck yeah. See how we're layering the spices? If you're ever creating something, layer your spices. Don't put them all in, that way nothing gets burned. There's always flavoring going in for each individual item. Alright folks, we're going to let this simmer down and just kind of get up to speed. I do cover at this time. I don't stir as much. And now it's time to prep the chicken. So I'm going to show that while we let this go about 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, now we've got that working. We're going to prep the chicken. Basically, you're going to take your adobo seasoning, and I go 1 pinch across the top. Work that in, turn it over. You really can't see it anymore. Are you going to add some more to the other side? Heck yeah. Another pinch of the adobo. Not only is it a fun spice, it tastes great. It's great to say adobo. Alright, so there it is. We're going to rub that in. We're going to wash our hands. And then we're going to come back to the chicken in just a second. While you're prepping that, if you are using the mushrooms, it's not a bad time to add some adobo, just a pinch, to the top of that one as well. Work that around. Remember, that's optional. Ta-da! Look at that nice simmer. Didn't quite get to it. When you start to hear it, that was about 3 minutes like I thought. You start to hear it, you're going to smell that tomato. You're going to smell that adobo. That's getting just like that. Now it's time to add the main star. We're going to add the chicken right in there. And in this case, if you're doing it, you're going to add the mushrooms. Going to stir that all in. See why you like a wok with this? I mean, you could use a skillet, but you're pushing it with the sides. Once you get in this temperature, you can see the chicken start to brown. Alright? You're going to want this to slow simmer. I put a lid on it, and I really don't stir that much more. We'll stir every minute or two. We're going to let this sit and go for about, I'll check it every minute, but I cook it for about 7-8 minutes right now. Lid be on. Once again, every few minutes, make sure you stir it, make sure the sauce isn't burning, and just to turn the chicken over while it's cooking. Alright, the timer has gone off on the pasta. And so what we do now is we steam dry it. Now, people have asked me, what does steam dried mean? That's okay. You take it and you pour it in the sink. Careful, careful, careful. Sorry to cut in front of the camera, but there really is no other way to do it. And this is what steam dry means. You see that right there? We're going to lift it up so the water drains. Create that nice vacuum there, right? You're going to let it sit just like this as it dries. Now, you probably won't have to do this, but when you use chickpeas, you have to sometimes rinse it just a little bit. Because of the chickpeas, they produce a protein as they're cooking. Let that drain. Don't touch it until you're ready to use it. It'll sit in the sink and the steam will dry it out and it'll be perfect for absorbing other flavors. Steam drying. Alright folks, we've allowed it to cook a few more minutes. That nice bubbling there. What kind of sound you want. I wish you guys could smell this. You can see the sauce is starting to come down a little bit. The chicken's getting nice and tender from cooking in that sauce. You got your green color, you got your popping mushrooms there. Nice. Alright, now it's time to add the last ingredient. Remember that Swiss chard? Don't forget the Swiss chard. It's going to look like a lot, and this is one of the reasons I like to use a wok. You can do this in batches maybe if you're using a skillet. The wok is a one-shot stop thing. See that? Now we're going to add a little more adobo here. Heck yeah. You're going to put your lid on. Leaving that temperature, it's on 2, right? Very low heat. Set it for about 4 minutes. We're going to come back and check it. Do not stir it this time. About 4 minutes have gone by. See how this is going? Take your handy spatula, turn the leaves over. Work these in. A little work there. Fold them over. Fold them under. Start to wilt in. Heck yeah, it's worth it. See what you've done there? Worked and softened those in. Chicken's nice and done. Absorbing all those juices. If you're a little leery of your chicken, which it's more than fine to be so, now a bad time to measure the temperature. Looks like it's going to get to 160. We still have a few minutes to cook, and so you're in good shape. Because we're still going to let this cook and wilt this Swiss chard down even further. Now at this point in time, I cover it. I turn the heat off. And I just let it go about 5 more minutes. So the grand total of things, you're looking at about 20-25 minutes of cooking time, about 15 minutes of prep. While this is sitting there and holding its heat, and you've turned it off, you set a timer for another 4 minutes. I have shredded a little bit of cheddar cheese. You can use mozzarella on this, completely optional. I didn't even put it in the ingredients because it's something you don't have to use. But you can add that as a slight topping to this once we get it plated, which you'll see in just a minute. Alright, we have wilted it all in. Timer's going off. Chard is all moved through. Time to plate. Come out just as beautiful as you could want it to do. So what we do now, we get some of the pasta. Right here. Layer it right through, making sure we add sauce in there. This makes enough basically for 4 people. 3 if they've got hearty appetites. And then I'll add that delicious adobo sauce around. And there you go, for the coup de grace. Little cheese on top. There you go, everybody. Adobo skillet chicken with pasta. A little bit of color to the top there. Always makes a pretty one. Everyone have a wonderful day. Please like, share, and subscribe.